And now, it's Boomer Life, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
And welcome to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. So here's the skill testing question of the day. Are you where you want to be financially? A well thought out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for both yourself and for your family. So on Boomer Life today, we're going to be speaking with about your financial future with JimeDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services, Inc. And specifically today, we're going to be talking about retirement planning, challenges to be aware of, and pitfalls that could prevent us from fulfilling our retirement goals. And our resident expert, financial consultant, JimeDoyle, is going to help steer us in the right direction. So welcome to the show, Jim.
Hi, Joanne. Thank you. It's great to be here today. There's nothing I like better than helping to educate people on how they can avoid blowing themselves up financially. Money is one of those things we tend not to think about too much until we need it. The older we get, the more concerns we need to address, many of which need to be solved with, you guessed it, money.
So, Jim, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes of this conversation. What do you think is the one thing that prevents people from planning ahead?
Hey, it's tough to go it alone. Some people have the time and the ability and the drive to manage all their finances. Others don't. Some people are confident enough to make the vital decisions on their own. Others need a helping hand. Professional advisors can provide some great insight into countless instances, but common misconceptions about financial planners prevent many from seeking their advice.
Well, I think this could be a very appropriate time to maybe grab a pen and a paper if you're listening at home, or if you're driving in your car right now, maybe just turn the volume up a little bit.
Fantastic. First, let me say that I think there are a lot of people who are on the right path. They might just need a tweak here or there or review a couple of areas, like cash flow management or budgeting. I think a roadblock for many people is time to do the planning the way it needs to be done. A retirement plan includes a budget because you need to have a good handle on cash flow. And if your kids are on the payroll, this is important to recognize. It's crucial to your success to understand how you use your resources to make sure your money doesn't run out.
Well, for more and more families, Jim, it just seems that there's always a little more month than there is a paycheck. I think I was thinking of a country song. There was a line in a country song years ago, was too much month at the end of the money.
Absolutely. A great question to ask yourself. How much income is left over at the end of the month? That simply, well, for lack of a better way of saying it, disappears. Does money just slip through your fingers? What areas of your life could you trim back on? Maybe be able to find a few dollars that you could save. Consider making a list.
That's a good idea. And you might surprise yourselves, too. Those few dollars do add up.
You know, we had a physician client who came to work with us, and he had multiple insurance policies for himself, his business, his kids, and he wasn't sure whether they were all in force or what he was paying for. We helped him sort out what he was paying for and helped him save a bit of money. A good area to review often is your insurance coverage. Okay? Are you paying for what you need, or are you paying for more than what you need? Creating and or reviewing your monthly and annual household budget could be a great place to start.
Well, Jim, you're starting us off with a very great point. Review where you stand financially and do it on a regular basis.
One widespread myth I hear all too often is that only wealthy people need a financial planner. That simply isn't true.
Well, then what's the holdup?
There's anxiety because people feel they can't afford advice just because their portfolio isn't 7 figures. It's amazing how many financially comfortable people we talk to that don't consider themselves wealthy.
Well, I'd probably suggest that could be especially true for retirees who might think once they've retired, they may not need to do much more planning.
Well, 2 responses if I could. First, retire from your job, not from your retirement and financial planning. Secondly, retirement isn't a number. Let me say that again. Retirement is not a number that once you get to, you can stop saving or you can quit working to grow your investments.
Do we actually need to repeat that? Retirement isn't a number to be crossed off a list.
I've found many boomer clients that I work with who are headed into retirement think they'll spend less in retirement, yet almost half of the retirees I work with say their expenses have increased since they began their retirement. Kids are one of those expenses. I can't tell you the number of 80-something-year-old clients who are still helping the kids or the grandkids to make ends meet.
Seriously? Well, I have a sense that the typical person at retirement age today, the baby boomer, they don't want the retirement that their parents had. And one question I have, what is that typical age? But if they don't want the typical retirement that their parents had, what do they want?
I'm seeing that boomers want to continue to grow and flourish in retirement instead of minimizing and downsizing. The key element I hear missing in many retirement planning conversations is concrete discussions of how people are going to spend their time and their money in retirement. The who, what, when, where, and how of retirement goals are often not planned for in advance. And from 30-plus years of experience, I can tell you that not planning in advance can leave the door open for all sorts of potential problems.
Can you actually give us an example of maybe one of those problems?
I think one that starts out innocently enough again is helping the kids out, but it easily becomes something that is somewhat ongoing and may impact your future retirement lifestyle.
Well, you know, this really comes back to a conversation we have often on this show about communication and communicating our wishes to our family. And planning, of course, communication and planning seem to be the two key considerations.
Absolutely. Couples may also want to consider taxes, insurance, retirement, budgeting, estate planning, liquidity, and other life goals. But they may also want to consider the differing and sometimes conflicting aspects of their lives and develop strategies and objectives to make everything work together. A plan can help do that.
Well, would you suggest your plan as an outline of what you envision your future will look like, maybe like a guide to your destination?
I have to agree. A plan helps reduce worry and stress. No one likes to get caught off guard by unexpected events or expenses. If there's any part of this that you don't get or you'd like more information on, I'd like to encourage you to give me a call.
Well, planning is so important, Jim, and that's why we're so thrilled to have you helping us out. It's difficult to know what the future will bring, and if you're still sitting at home taking some notes about this conversation, here, write down Jim's number while we're at it, 604-682-5431. And let's be honest, sometimes you need a little help getting started.
What is wonderful is that people today are living longer, healthier, more active lives. In nearly every way, you're more youthful than your parents were at your age. So it's fitting that your retirement lifestyle is also different. Every retirement comes with lifestyle decisions that should be considered carefully.
Well, we are living a lot longer than we used to, so a great question to consider is, will the money run out? It's just simple math that we're going to need money to support longer lives, and it's so important that we pay attention to our money and our investment choices.
People still need to strategize and use sound retirement planning tactics like saving early and investing in equity or stock investments to give their investments a fighting chance to keep pace with inflation for what could be a very long and active retirement. You want to have the means to fully enjoy everything you can in retirement. Advice doesn't have to be complicated to be expected. And contrary to a misplaced notion, it's never too late to engage in good planning. Even small improvements matter.
As a financial planner, you help people construct investment portfolios to generate reliable income and to support them in a lifestyle that they expect now and they expect, into their future. That's one of your big differentiators, your emphasis on the fact that creating a plan for the future is key.
One story we hear over and over from retirees is how before they retired, Prospective retirees spent a lot of time going over the financial plan and the numbers to ensure that they had enough to stop working, but they didn't think much about what they wanted to do after they stopped working.
That's a great point. So looking after the grandkids and golfing alone, they're not going to cut it?
I think it might for a while, but for some people, we eventually hear they want to do something for themselves. With the youngest of the baby boomers turning 52 this year, there's an increased awareness of the benefits of active lifestyles. In fact, as in every other phase of their lives, this group has redefined retirement, especially their homes. Across North America, the term independent living concept is quickly being swept aside in favor of active adult living retirement communities.
Absolutely. And I've heard that 55 is the new 40. Baby boomers may precede Gen Xers by birth date, but if their active retirement lifestyle trends continue, it may be difficult to distinguish members of these generations.
Hey, Joanna, I have to agree, since I'm turning 55 this summer.
And I'm already there. So do you hear that, baby boomers? We're redesigning retirement, bringing it back to where the conversation has started. The traditional retirement goal of our parents was to quit working and then live on a fixed income for the rest of their lives. We, as boomers, on the other hand, want to continue exploring and breaking new ground, just continuing to grow.
Everyone wants to get to the point in their lives where work is an option and not an obligation. That doesn't mean that people don't want to have a part-time job or maybe do some consulting, but it's for other reasons. Or even go back to school, either for their own personal enrichment or to pursue a degree.
I've heard that some people say that once that they left school, they were never going back. So you're suggesting that perspective might be changing, especially for a number of retirees?
I am. I recently hired an associate, Paige, whose father, a high-level civil servant, retired after 30 years of service and headed back to university to pursue another degree.
Oh, sorry. Once more? Yeah, once more.
I am. I recently hired an associate, Paige, whose father, a high-level civil servant, retired after 30 years of service and headed back to university to pursue another degree. A surprising number of Canadian colleges and universities offer discounted or free tuition for seniors.
That's really quite exciting, going back to school. Education is stimulating on its own, and meeting all sorts of new people could definitely revitalize your social circle. What a great way to continue to enhance your quality of life.
We just had the Investors Group Alzheimer's Walk just a couple of days ago. And I think when we talk about the quality of life, it's something that most of us passionately want. A report published in Psychological Science says that mentally demanding activities are linked to improved cognitive function as you age. Their research reveals that less demanding activities, such as listening to classical music or completing word puzzles, probably won't bring noticeable benefits to an aging mind, but doing something that is unfamiliar and mentally challenging can.
Well, Jim, this is a fantastic reminder that life is a journey, and like any successful journey, should always include good planning. Take contingencies into consideration. You are listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Joined in studio today, we're speaking with JimeDoyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. If you're concerned about being on the right path financially or worried about sustaining your retirement lifestyle, it might be a great reason to give Jim a call today. You can learn how JimeDoyle could actually help you with your financial situation. So here's his number, 604-682-5431. Or if it's easier, you can always send him an email, jim.doyle@investorsgroup.com. We've all heard about trusts, but do you actually know how a trust could benefit yourself and your family? Trusts are not just for the wealthy. Jim will offer insight into how this often overlooked planning tool could be a win-win for your family. That's all coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.